The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Jasmine Chen walked through the crystalline doors, her lunch bag swinging casually from her hand. The assembled leaders representing 17 species from across 3 spiral arms watched with barely concealed fascination and horror. High Chancellor Vexter of the Krillnary hegemony leaned toward his aide, his 6 compound eyes narrowing. She brought food to a diplomatic summit. Humans are unpredictable, Your Excellence, the aide whispered back, mandibles clicking nervously. Jasmine smiled warmly at the assembly, completely oblivious to the tension rippling through the chamber. Sorry I'm a bit early. Hope you don't mind if I finish my lunch before we start. She pulled out a chair at the observation deck, a transparent platform. Overlooking the discussion, Floran began unpacking her meal. Kevin Martinez, the junior human attaché, stood by the entrance, datapad in hand. He noticed the way the alien delegates shifted in their seats, how their various appendages twitched and trembled. He'd seen this reaction before, but it never got old. Is that Supreme Commander Zhaol of the Vrin Empire rasped, her scales turning a sickly purple shade. Is that plant matter? Jasmine looked up, holding a crisp apple. Oh, this. Yeah, packed some fruit for the trip. The station's food synthesizers never get Earth produced quite right. She bit into the apple with a satisfying crunch that echoed through the chamber like a gunshot. The assembled leaders flinched. Collectively, Ambassador Krill of the Peaceful Consortium of Thrin practically levitated from his seat. She's consuming it raw, without processing, without neutralizing the toxins. Kevin suppressed a smile and tapped a few notes into his datapad. The reactions were even better than he'd anticipated. Ambassador Chen has a strong constitution, he said diplomatically. As do all humans. Jasmine continued eating, now pulling out a sandwich, lettuce, tomato, and what appeared to be some kind of cured meat. She took a hearty bite, chewing contentedly while reviewing the diplomatic briefing on her own tablet. That's muscle tissue, whispered Trade Prince Nixala, his tentacles recoiling. From an animal, and she's eating it between slices of grain product. The tomato is from a plant in the nightshade family, added Science Director Plix, her voice trembling. On any civilized world, that genus is used exclusively for manufacturing industrial solvents and pesticides. High Chancellor Vexter rose slowly, his ceremonial robes quivering. I move that we table today's discussions. The human representative is clearly unwell, perhaps affected by some kind of neuroparasite or... He paused, watching as Jasmine pulled out a small bottle. What is that? Hot sauce, Jasmine said cheerfully, shaking bright red liquid onto her sandwich. Capsaicin-based condiment. It makes everything better. She noticed their stares and added helpfully, it's made from peppers. They evolved the chemical to prevent mammals from eating them, and you consume it. Voluntarily. Supreme Commander Zhao's voice was barely a whisper. For pleasure, Kevin interjected, unable to resist. Humans find the burning sensation enjoyable. The chamber erupted into chaos. Several delegates activated their emergency distress beacons. Ambassador Krill collapsed back into his anti-gravity suspension field, his translator struggling to render his species equivalent of shocked whimpering. Jasmine looked around, confused, her sandwich halfway to her mouth. Did I say something wrong? Trade Prince Nixola's tentacles writhed in agitation. Do you understand what you're telling us? That humans are species from the Deathworld designated Class 12, the planet where 95% of all life forms produce some kind of venom, toxin, or digestive acid. You're saying that you consume these deadly substances for entertainment. Well, when you put it that way, Jasmine shrugged and took another bite of her sandwich. I mean, yeah, I guess. Never really thought about it. Kevin decided it was time to intervene. He stepped forward, addressing the council. Distinguished delegates, perhaps this is an opportune moment to discuss the purpose of today's summit. The Kryn border dispute. The border. High Chancellor Vexter cut him off, his voice rising to a pitch that suggested genuine panic. You want to discuss territory while she sits there proving that humans are even more terrifying than our worst intelligence reports suggested. Jasmine pulled out a small bar wrapped in foil. Anyone want some chocolate? It's got coffee beans in it. Truly helps with the afternoon energy dip. Methylxanthine, Science Director Plix shrieked. She's casually offering to share new... Actually, theobromine is the primary, Kevin began, but Jasmine elbowed him gently. Maybe we should stick to the diplomatic stuff, she muttered. Supreme Commander Zhaol stood abruptly, her scales now cycling through colors the human representatives had never seen before. I hereby motion for immediate recess. The Viren Empire requires time to reconsider our negotiating position. Seconded, gasped Ambassador Krill. The Peaceful Consortium also respectfully requests a delay. Within minutes, the chamber was emptying. Delegates scrambled for the exits, their various forms of locomotion creating a bizarre exodus. High Chancellor Vexter paused at the doorway, looking back at Jasmine with something between awe and terror in his compound eyes. You know, he said slowly, we've studied your species extensively. We know your planet's gravity is 40% higher than standard. We know your atmosphere has dangerously high oxygen content. We know you evolved alongside creatures that would be classified as bioweapons on any civilized world. He paused, watching as Jasmine took another bite of her apple. But somehow, seeing you casually poison yourself while discussing interstellar politics, that's what truly makes us understand why the galaxy fears Earth. Jasmine swallowed her bite of apple and smiled. Fear, I thought we were making friends. The High Chancellor made a sound that the translator rendered as nervous laughter. Humans don't make friends, Ambassador Chen. You make species who desperately hope to stay on your good side. He gestured to the emptying chamber. Consider today's negotiations. Postponed indefinitely. The culinary hegemony is prepared to concede to all human territorial claims in the disputed sectors. All of them. Kevin's eyebrows shot up. But that's 3 entire star systems. Consider it a gift, Vexter said quickly. A gesture of goodwill. Just please don't bring food to the next summit. As the last delegates filed out, leaving Jasmine and Kevin alone in the vast chamber, she looked down at her half-eaten lunch with bemusement. Did we just win a major diplomatic victory because I ate a sandwich? Kevin grinned, updating his report. Welcome to human diplomacy. Sometimes our greatest weapon is just being ourselves. He glanced at her lunch bag. Though next time, maybe save the ghost pepper chips for after the negotiations. Jasmine laughed and packed up her remaining food. Through the chamber's transparent walls, they could see the alien vessels hastily departing the station, their various propulsion systems creating streaks of light against the stars. Somewhere in the vastness of space, 17 species were updating their threat assessments of humanity, and at the center of it all, a young woman from a Class 12 Deathworld had just reshaped galactic politics without firing a single shot, armed only with an apple, a sandwich, and the terrifying resilience that evolution had gifted to the children of Earth. The galaxy would never quite look at humans the same way again.